Live from the Multimodal Media Lab in downtown Vancouver. It's the world premiere of the BC AI FilmClub.
All right, I heard there was a film thing happening tonight. How are we all doing? Welcome to the first monthly BC AI Film Club in-person, actual for real, in the physical universe meetup. I am so happy you're here. Give yourselves a huge round of applause. This is all birthed from community, first and foremost. Yes, the technology is great to have for a reason to get together, but it's people coming together to do human things in an increasingly not quite human world. So we want to bring the confluence of these new technologies with real people-centric movement here. So it's awesome to have you. How many of you are here from the existing BC AI community? Okay, a decent number of you. Okay. How many of you are here totally fresh, curious about AI film? Wow. Okay. We got a real mixture here. So you're going to hear a lot about, the BC AI ecosystem. There's a lot of members here. Don't take my word for it. It's an awesome community that's allowed us to do a lot of things, like this background animation that Luke, who you'll see very shortly, put together for us tonight, using CDream, is that right? CDream, CDance, both ByteDance models in record time. Of course, using Luke's extensive animation background. So props to the gnome noobs. This is this is some serious stuff. So here we go. My name is Kevin Friel. Those of you in the BC AI community will know me from tech producing the main meetups. This is the first offshoot of that. We're going to hold these every second Thursday of every month. And I'm so excited to bring this all together with all of the team people that have brought this together too. So to kind of give you a focus on why we're doing this, I say this every month. It's a transformative time for film. It's a transformative time for animation. It's a transformative time for work as we know it. And getting a community together with our existing knowledge base, our existing prowess, our existing creativity, whether you're coming into it for the first time or you're a seasoned professional in VFX and animation, just trying to understand what's next. We thought it was really important to just get people in the room and learn together and hang out and collaborate and just see what's up every month, because it changes every single day at the moment. Now, what I would like to do for most months is kind of get you up to speed of like what's the latest and greatest in the models. It's overwhelming. There's so much happening. But instead of like an actual kind of like, catch up of what's going on at the moment, and there's a lot, I want to take a look back at 2025.
I will remember you. Will you remember?
These are all the models that were released in 2025. ByteDance, Luma, OpenAI, Google, Runway, Kling. It keeps going. So 2025 model count, 31 image generation models, 45 video generation models, a few specialized language models that have visual capabilities. 93 models came out in 2025. And for the most part, that's been in the last 6 months when really things picked up speed. Now, already in 2026, a lot of people are looking at this Twitter thread that one of the main engineers of Claude Code has been putting together of like how he does his day-to-day. Claude Code is coding Claude Code right now. Right? It's crazy the amount of innovation that's about to kick off in all of this. So this is why we're here. This is why we're all together. 2026 needs more creative community than ever, more open dialogue as tools evolve, and spoiler alert, they're gonna. It's crazy. And we want every human in every loop. That's why we're here. That's why we have the BC AI Film Club. Now, in this space, Multimodal Media Lab, what a venue that we get to kick this off in. We did the kind of an alpha test in the main BC AI in October, taking over that, and to have a continual space for it. It was a bit of a search, and then lo and behold, one of our community members, Yangos, suddenly got brought on board here in this amazing facility in the shell of a WeWork. You still see some of the signs kicking around in the bathrooms if you take a look. Yangos, if you want to come up and just say a few words about what multimodal is all about.
Thank you. Thank you, Kevin. Welcome, everyone. It's great to be amongst friends and great community. We have a very special space here at the Multimodal Media Lab, the mml.ca. And I want to show you a little bit of what we do in general. And I want to announce some new things about our original IP that is going to be the first multimodal IP in the world. So we're really proud of it. Can we play it?
What if creativity could move like music through every medium and every mind?
We're a studio, an education center, and a research lab for intelligent creation where artists and technologists shape the future together.
Through image, sound, and performance, we craft immersive stories, not to replace the human touch, but to amplify it.
At MML, we don't study the future of media, we prototype it. We bring ideas to life through generative, film, spatial storytelling, and AI-assisted world building.
When every element comes together, something extraordinary happens.
This is the Multimodal Symphony, empowering the next generation of storytellers.
Awesome. So as you saw here, we have three arms. One is the research lab, where we're trying to see the intersection between AI and XR and thinking about the new generation of glasses and how they're going to incorporate AI and creating the right content for it. The second arm is education. We really care about sharing the knowledge. And the first one is creating original IPs and not only doing it in one form, but multiple forms. So the idea is to make multimodal IPs for multimedia using multi-layered tech, so MMM. Our first IP is called Gambino, and it's part of the Godfather family of movies, and it's starring Nicolas Cage, directed by John Woo. Last time I showed the AI trailer, now I want to show you the non-AI trailer, but I think it gives you much more context about the world building that we're going to be doing using the film as our first IP that comes out. And yeah, roll it ahead. Yeah. Enjoy.
It's starting today. There's nothing I'll let get in my way. It's starting today. It's gonna be great. I am on my way.
I always wanted to make an epic movie. Gambino, such an incredible character, is a dream project.
So in 1976, Carlo Gambino dies, and the New York Times has not prepared an obituary for him, and they need one immediately. So they hire their most important writer, Jimmy Breslin, and they tell him he has 48 hours to do it, and writes this obituary that won the Pulitzer Prize. We see him talking to people that were part of the rise of Gambino.
There's sort of a little Citizen Kane-like approach to it, where he's on this quest to write this piece in time for the Sunday paper.
You start to see this young man who came from Sicily, who escaped from mob wars and came to America and ended up becoming America's most important gangster. In a way, it's sort of like The Godfather. And in fact, The Godfather, everyone says, was sort of based on Gambino.
Jimmy Breslin said in his piece, if Sicilians were not going to be invited to the American dream, they were going to take it by storm. And guys like Carlo, they were like, I will live this dream by any means necessary.
So there's two sides to the coin. People loved him, but then he was feared.
He was a master manipulator. If he knew a war was going to break out, he would find ways to encourage it without getting his fingers dirty.
His enemies were taking themselves out. He was a chess player.
He's got this kind of mixed personality. He's a gangster, but at the same time, Gambino's whole lifestyle was built on the idea of loyalty.
Then his whole life was about his wife and family. That love story is what was his core and why he was fighting to protect it all the time.
I think one of the tragedies of his life is that he ultimately couldn't be the husband that he really wanted to be for her.
Well, I was thinking quite a bit about the types of directors that would be right for this. And then suddenly it came to me, John Woo. When you look at Better Tomorrow, The Killer, and Hard Boiled, he made his name doing Chinese gangster pictures. So why couldn't he do an American gangster picture?
I usually like a human drama. I've never seen a gangster movie that will touch everybody's heart. And from the script, I have learned so much about the real Italian. They really work hard and they really try to make their dream come true.
What's the greatest movie that John Woo's ever made, in my opinion? And that is Face Off. If I could recreate that magic on screen, it's unbelievably exciting.
Nick Cage is a very talented actor and he has great range. Nick and Gambino got one thing in common. They both don't talk much. I love Nick Cage's eyes, they tell the story.
Gambino's life is fascinating. It's the kind of thing that you can't stop watching. We'll have something extraordinary that is not just an American movie, but is a worldwide phenomenon.
For what is a man? What has he got? If not himself, then he has not to say the things he truly feels, and not the words of one who kneels. I face the wall, and I stood tall, and did it my
Thank you. Yeah, so I think what's important about the movie is that it's going to be talking a lot about loyalty, family, immigration, as well as morality and the pressure. So we want to explore that aspect and then deliver 7 simultaneous experiences using AI pipelines and the stack that we're building. Starting with the theatrical experience, then there's going to be a mini series, a mobile experience, a social experience in collaboration with TikTok. And then what we really care about also to explore is what we call the third space. So your first space is your home, your second space is your office, but the third space could be your vehicle, your in-car experience. A lot of electronic vehicles now, especially in China, are used as entertainment centers, and we want to really build what it means to be in a mobile entertainment center and watching movies inside it. So we want to build all the multimodal, multisensory experience around that. We have good collaborations with Faraday Future and Lucid and other EV companies that we're going to be doing some showcases on how to build experiences around that combine all the 7 senses. And then we have a gallery that we're going to be showcasing stuff in New York that we're going to try to bring the dialogue around this multimodal IP creation. And we're going to have a nice location-based experience around immersive dining and pasta and the Gambino universe. So it's going to be really, really interesting. What's the next one?
It's the Fashion Futures.
Yeah, something else.
Roz, come on down.
Yeah, Roz, please come by. Yeah. So going back to the education part, one of the great workshops that we're going to be doing here is the Fashion Futures. You want to say something about it, Roz? Yeah.
Okay, I have quite quite a history in 3D apparel, and I've been part of what I call the fashion tech community for quite some time. Just finished speaking in Hong Kong all about AI fashion and starting to meet some of the amazing companies that are doing great things with data, great things with imaging, great things with production sheets, and at the same time tying it all in with the real world of manufacturing. So that's what we want to do with the course. That's what we will do with the course, which is start to take you through the real workflows, the real softwares that make the real difference in the apparel industry. It's desperate for those skills. I mean, there's a lot of great skills and people within, but AI is an amazing tool. But at the same time, it has to be used by someone who knows what they're doing. Right. Again, QR code, and we'll be doing a workshop, a 4-hour workshop, so you can get a real overview and see some of the softwares. Right? And it's not just me. It's Ria as well. She's an amazing teacher of fashion design, as well as one of my ex-students.
Thanks, Rose. Yeah, so anybody who wants to engage with MML, come and find me later. I'll be pleased to talk about what we can do here together and grow the community as organically and as Canadian as possible.
Amazing stuff. Thank you, sir. Extraordinary things happening in our backyard already. Yangos, thank you to you and your team for having us here for every month on out as well, and welcoming all of the creative innovators here too in this shared space is absolutely incredible. Next, Joel. Joel, come on down. Joel is with Clear LED. They have provided the screens here tonight, the back and the forward one, in all of their glorious color. They'll be here every month as well. Clear LED is doing some incredible things around the world. My hometown of Ottawa has your beautiful display outside of the National Arts Centre, which has made that facility punch well above its weight, and it's really cool to see. So Joel, tell us what Clear LED and what you've been up to.
Hello. Oh, sorry about that. You guys might have seen me at the Christmas party. I was singing songs for you back then, doing some Buble stuff. And I'm back here again to work on presenting you Clear LED, which is what these screens are on. I just wanted to on following up on my performance there last time, this is the last thing I did in 2025, just a little recap. Down at an Irish bar down by Science World, and I was singing a bunch of songs in a tuxedo, and using actually AI to record that set and strip the vocals out and then remix them back in, because that's the nature of my work. So even though I'm dealing with screens, I'm mostly an audio guy, but it's really about the ecosystem and about the tools that you can use within these spaces. So I just wanted to, yeah, you can't read any of that. But anyway, what I'm gonna be working on in 2026, while it deals more with the audio side of things, as I said, this is part of the ecosystem. How do we bring the immersive side of the audio in with the visual technologies that we have to work with? And how do we use design methodologies in this way to create value? So for something like this, you know, maybe one day in a big stadium down in Las Vegas. But this is one of Clear LED's big signature projects, which is Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, home of the Las Vegas Raiders and the #1 draft pick. This is the Wells Fargo Center in New Jersey. This is the Primark Madrid, Grand Via Madrid in Spain. So you can see the Clear LED technology taking place within these shop windows. And Concord Pacific, on a local note, you'll see some of Clear LED's technologies on display, literally, in this application, as well as the Oak Ridge Park showroom, which is being built right now. There's a bunch of stuff happening there. That's fine, we can move on. And this, just to show you a bit of a different type of application for lighting, is not screen-based, but is actually node-based lighting strands hanging down from the Masonic Center down near Broadway. So there's plenty of applications around town that you'll see, but plenty around the world, including in Dubai, Tokyo, Ottawa, the big display that you were talking about. Yeah, another there's another office somewhere, and I can't remember where it is off the top of my head. But anyway, worldwide. And if you're looking to do research, looking to do experimentation and prototyping with these types of screens, we have them here. We have the big cube, as you can see in the room next door. And that's going to function as basically like a lounge to come check out what we can do with the technology and showcase it. So talk to me. I'm Joel. I also go by my stage name, George Crooney. So you might see me singing around town. Come say hi, and I'll feed you some more info. Thank you.
Amazing stuff, Joel. Thank you, sir. All right, we are into the lightning round of demos. One more hand for Clear LED. We wouldn't be able to see our works if we don't have beautiful displays like this to see them on. So, Dr. Bailey, would you like to come on down and show us your first piece here? Tell us. Oh yeah. While we wait for that to boot up. This fine young gentleman has been hanging around the AI Film WhatsApp group, which is over 150 members now, and it's very fertile and vibrant. A lot of the people that you're going to see tonight are pretty much all on that group as well. And he presented this new tool for Comfy UI to make life a lot easier. And pending the laptop coming back to life.
Reboot.
Oh, it has to reboot.
Not specifically for Comfy UI.
Okay.
It's just local.
How about you tell us what's going on while you reboot?
Yeah, so I'm attempting to make a standardization for model libraries. So right now you want to use AI local on your computer. You have all these different applications, and they all have a different way of getting the model into the application. So what I'm doing is creating a system where you have one shareable library that all your apps can be linked to that. So you don't have to keep like downloading stuff where it's asking you to go to this website, download this thing, put it in this folder, go to GitHub, build the source code because a lot of the AI is not well developed yet. So our local tools are very technical.
All right.
You can take that.
How about we go to another demo while we wait for that to boot up? How does that sound? Okay. Daniel, do you want to come on down, please? Sorry, Daniel. Yes, here we go. Daniel has been a new member of the AI Film Group. Tell us about what you're up to.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Nice to be here. So with the proliferation of AI video models, we think the last mile is going to be sound. Because without music and sound effects, videos may not be able to fully explore the stories that are trying to be told. So what we've automated is
how you can create bespoke soundtracks in seconds with Tide Theory. Upload your video and watch Tide Theory score it instantly. It translates the video's pacing and mood into a musical blueprint and creates a bespoke soundtrack, tailored to your creative direction. Talk to us today for access to our upcoming beta product.
Thank you. We're also looking to collaborate with creators, so if you are interested in working with us, please let me know.
It's a really cool technology. I've seen a handful of demos now. I've yet to try it out yet, but it's also a real challenge. A lot of people don't know what they want in terms of music for their clips. Just being able to upload something and get something that's in the ballpark is already 90% of the battle. So it's very cool technology that's being started up in our backyard. How are you doing, Dr. Bailey? It's happened. Okay, here we go.
So it's work in progress. But this application was my Christmas project, so it's only been around for a few weeks. But the basic gist is that you can install different applications and their icons will show on the side. They can have lots of different versions, and they all have their own virtual environment, which means that it won't collide with dependencies. Because when something like Comfy UI updates, a lot of time your custom nodes will stop working because they're no longer compatible. This will ensure that all your versions remain working. So along with this, it can download and install everything. It takes care of all dependencies. You do not have to go to the command line to go and set up your applications. And it has a model library. If you have your models, it'll all show here, and you can click the globe and look for some models And when you're actually connected to the network, it will list them out there, but it's not there today. And when something is running, you just start it up like that. It'll just take a second. And once it's open, you can see some indicators on here where it actually tracks the per process use of your system resources, so you know what's happening to all your VRAM, and which is very important because that's usually the limiting factor of what you can do on your computer, is if you have enough memory.
Super cool stuff. Yeah. This is a huge problem, just tracking files and making sure you've got your right versions of models in on a platform like Comfy UI, where, you know, things can be splayed all over the place very quickly. And this is definitely more on the professional side and the professional management of things,
yeah,
but is super useful.
This is definitely more the technical stuff if you are into doing things local on your computer. But it looks like a very simple application, but this here is a single feature in this application, and this is not the development proposal. This is the index for the development proposal. And so it just goes on and on. Maybe that wasn't the right file, but because I'm seeing source code, that's a different file. Yeah, this one here. This is the index for the plan that implements the library. It just goes on and on and on. It's much more complex than it appears on the surface.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you very much for showing us the early portion of that, sir. That's awesome. Ahmed. There you are. Those of you who have been around the BC AI community have seen what Ahmed has been up to. I got to see a sneak peek of some of the early stuff of the new updates on CreaDev. CreaDev is the world's fastest platform for getting a AAA looking game from scratch to something playable in record time. And we've got a little clip that'll go on behind your spiel here. So here we go.
Exactly. So yeah. So not only games, but also animation and simulations. It's an outcome. Let's take a look. So up to fire-breathing dragons, no less. If you're interested, please log into creative.net, talk to me, and it's coming out soon. Thank you very much, Kevin.
Thank you, sir. You've got to see this thing work. It just builds things lightning fast to a whole bunch of really incredible presets, and it's such a great playground to play around in. And we can't wait to see where it goes. All right, coming up next, we have got Mr.
Here is
John Mutter. John Mutter, come on up. While John's coming up, I wanted to give a shout out to Tim Riopel. You saw him at the October takeover of the AI Film Fest at the BC AI meetups. Tim is putting together a new course that is how to pre-conceptualize film with all the latest and greatest tools at a professional level. Tim is a master compositor that works on a lot of Netflix TV series and shows, and he's incredibly handy with Comfy UI, which is kind of the professional playground for a lot of these new workflows that are coming out of thin air here. So if you're going to learn from somebody out of anywhere, never mind in our backyard, Tim is your man. So please find him on LinkedIn and get informed about this course. It's pretty awesome. So John, come on down. John, we last saw your works in August at the BC AI meetup. We met at SIGGRAPH, and you've got a lot of cool new things to show off here. So tell us what we're in for.
Sure. My name's John. I'm a visual effects compositor, director, and composer. Been making short generative AI scenes from movies and TV shows that don't exist. So we're going to see a soap opera. An episodic soap opera. This is episode 3. There's going to be a recap at the beginning so you can catch up on all your favorite characters. It's a love triangle between a guy's girlfriend and her aunt. And then a short scene from a horror movie that doesn't exist from the 40s, and then a clip from a home shopping network that's an ad for my website.
Previously on Strange Love. Do you still have feelings for my aunt?
Look, she's passed away. You have nothing to worry about.
She's alive again. She's back.
She's back?
Keep your darn hands off of him. He's mine.
Look, I know you're back again, but we can't meet anymore.
Fine, if that's the way you feel. This is goodbye.
Unless something were to happen to Cindy, we could be together again.
And now, an all-new Strange Love.
Oh, hi, honey. Sorry I'm late. I was a bit busy at the office.
I was so worried. I even called the office. They said you weren't there.
Oh, that's odd. Who did you talk to?
Candace?
She was probably drunk.
Are you lying to me right now?
No, I'm not lying.
You know what? I'm tired. I'm going to bed. We can talk about this another time.
Hello?
It's done.
What do you mean it's done?
The plan is in motion.
What have I done?
Shadows dance on velvet walls. The chandelier knows all my flaws. A secret whispered through the halls. Hearts collide in mirrored skies. Truth and lies where the same.
Is someone there? Who are you?
Do not be frightened. I am not here to harm you. In fact, I am here to love you.
Love me?
I do love you. You must believe me.
Well then, I think. I love you too.
Okay, I am really excited about the next item we have for sale. It is a Birds Got Your Back silver coin. Can we get a close-up on that? This is a beautiful piece. You can see the intricate details.
Wow, well, all right. I think I'm going to have to get a couple of these.
I should also mention that each coin comes with a link to the Bird website, birdsgotyourback.com. It can be yours for just 3 easy payments of $6.99. Oh, I stubbed my toe.
Oh.
Chia pet.
Thank you, John. Always entertaining. Stay around. We got some questions for you. What I love about what you bring to your pieces is it's this found footage aesthetic. It's, going into like the rummage bins of our sentimentalities and what was really fun and playful and bringing them into, this is all generated, right? Like it's pretty wild. What inspired you to take, your VFX compositing experience and really play in this playground?
I think, I enjoy directing traditional work just as much. I think that's my passion. And this was just an opportunity to get ideas out quickly without having to find people and time and cameras and whatnot. So it was just an extension of doing what I like doing. If I had the time and resources, I would have just made these traditionally, but this was an opportunity to do it quickly.
Spoken like someone who works on VFX timelines. Yeah. That's awesome, John. Any questions from anyone out there about John's work? Oh, sorry, Misha, go for it.
Yeah, well, I guess the more obvious one is which models did you kind of use mostly, especially for like those like vintage filters? Because that was really cool to see like how you added those like vintage filters.
Most of that I do afterwards in Nuke. So for the soap opera one I took actual stills from soap operas and then changed the characters to look like new people. So some of those stills already were in that space, and then I would just treat them after in Nuke.
One in the back, yeah.
Are the other films on your episode or on your website?
Yeah, if you're hooked now on those characters, yeah, my website and my Instagram, stay tuned. There's more. The scene with the hitman's next, so spoiler alert for episode 4.
It's the Mutter Cinematic Universe, yeah.
Just my name, John Mutter is last name, John Mutter.
Anybody else?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, one in the middle.
That was fantastic. If you do try to scale beyond a solo workflow, what's the first constraint you hit if you try that?
Good question. I'm not sure. I mean, I kind of like doing every part of it, so I guess I don't feel as super constrained because I think it's all fun. So I'm having fun.
That's a really interesting question on the paradigm of all this right now. It has really celebrated kind of lone wolf creators, right? Because we can take full control of the narrative at the moment, right? And the group work there's a little bit of out there, but a lot of folks that are getting the presences online are kind of solo creators. So it'll be interesting to see, how these workflows really scale out. What do you see as potential pitfalls, just knowing the bumps and grinds that you've hit so far?
That's a good question. I should say I'm also working on strictly non-AI short films as well to balance that out. So those are purposely for the sake of working with people. But I feel like a lot of the problems that happen when generating stuff are balanced out by the other parts of the pipeline. So a lot of the takes are crazy. They do something really weird at the end of the take. So that just comes to editing or doing some visual effects to make that work. So I feel like if you were splitting up, say, the editing, it would just be like any pipeline. A lot of communication between, hey, I think use this beginning of this clip, use the end of this one. Yeah.
Very cool. One in the back there, yes.
Can you share a bit about your workflow and the tools you like?
Yeah, so the earlier stuff, I was using the automatic 1111 to create stills, or Comfy UI to create stills, and then Google VO's always been the best. There's a few cling clips in there when there's not dialogue. But I've been using this Sosaku just to try different models. So that's been good. And then for stills now, I'm basically just using the Nano Banana Gemini because that's suddenly gotten really, really good. That seems to know what I want. So generally that and Google VO.
Amazing. Thank you, sir. Any other questions for John? Yeah, we'll take that one last and then we'll move on.
What was designed? Was there a script coming in or idea?
Yeah, so I'm purposely not using AI to do any of the dialogue or ideas. So that's it's all going to stay human, and then the editing all stay human. So yeah, everything was created in a still. Once that was composed and actors posed properly, move that into Google Video, give it the dialogue, the actor directions, the camera directions, see what that spits out, do a bunch of takes, and then edit those as you would traditionally. Yeah.
Awesome stuff. One last question here.
Have you thought about injecting some noise into the stream to get a more realistic output?
Yeah, there is a little bit already. Yeah, there's kind of a bit crusher on it to lower the bit depth, so there's subtleness, but yeah, I've it's a good idea to add a little bit more, a little more crunch to it. Yeah.
Question for the previous gentleman. Have you tried, I think he talked about some kind of Hugging Face or toolkit. Have you tried EXO or like a cluster mechanism to put all your models on a different cluster so that you can load essentially a lot more models in real time?
Yeah, you're talking about having models stored across different disks and different file systems. That is a major part of what I'm doing in the back end because there's a lot of problems with different file systems. But I personally don't have like a commercial server to do cluster testing myself, and I'm not going to be renting like an AWS just for my project. But if people want that, I can work on it later, but right now, no.
Baby steps, baby steps. Thank you so much, John. That was awesome. Definitely find him on Instagram. He puts out stuff on the regular, and as you can see, there's a lot of really intricate compositing and little tricks to make something look grungy, which is always making something look authentic is always kind of more of a chore than try to do something clean. So you definitely need tips of the trade to do that. Daniela, please come on up. Yeah, yes, truly you now. Daniela has also been a part of our film club, and you're good. What do I do with my arms? Here, I'll give you this mic here.
Hello, hi, hola.
You've been a really amazing contributor for a while, and you've come up with this tool, so tell us all about it.
So what you guys are going to see is basically me being stubborn, okay? So my name is Dani. You can also call me Daga. That's my artistic name. You can choose. A little bit of what I do visual narrative. I've worked in comics, in video games, in webtoons, my own art, and a little bit of animation as well. And I like drawing. That's the key part of this whole me being stubborn. So I love AI animation, but I found a couple of things that I don't like. For example, the best AI animation right now, it's 3D. Like it looks better when it's 3D. When it's 2D, you sometimes get these little like problems with lines. And there are great anime outputs in like BO, sit downs, etc. They still feel very generic. And what I want is to be able to put my art in those animations. I like drawing, as I said, but I don't want to draw like an infinite amount of frames like a normal 2D animator. Also, I want to be able to do things that feel more traditional. Like, for example, I don't know if any of you have seen Rebecca Sugar's animation thesis. It's amazing. You should watch it. It's just 3 minutes and it's incredible. So I want to do something like that. And because of that, I had this test that I did a week ago, which is, can I do a decent style transfer to a black and white line art animation in Figma Wave? Why Figma Wave? I just wanted to try it. It's simpler than Comfy UI, and I don't have to do that many things, so I felt that it was the right choice. So the first thing is me drawing a friend. The second part is me trying to give it more of a better shape. So I use Nano Banana to make it 3D. Why not 2D first? Because as I said, it gives better visuals and a better shape with 3D. So I tested 3D first, and then I used Nano Banana again to make it 2D. Then I used Sit Dance to make this little walking animation, which looks pretty okay. And I said, okay, this is gonna be super easy. Let's see how it goes. But after trying that to many different styles, I realized that there is this problem that we can all see, which is when you have these little problems here, then when you do a style transfer, you have the same issues. Sometimes you have even more, but you can see here in a frame by frame that this is one of the problems. So what I wanted to do is to be able to get one of these frames, improve it on my own, and then use this new video to make a new style transfer. I know this is pretty manual, but I wanted to test it to see how it will go. So I tried first Sigma Wave and its tools. It didn't work because it was too simple. So I used Cloud to create my own frame structure tool. I call it Hybrid Dreams. And so what it basically does is that I can upload any video, and then I can choose if it's 24 FPS or 30 or whichever frame rate that I want. It extracts every frame, and I can choose which frame to download, and I can make it bigger, and I can also move with left or right to be able to choose quicker which frames doesn't work. I downloaded 20 frames. I then opened Procreate Dreams to manually change each frame. I then upload the other one, and I could see that there was some improvement. Then I exported it, and it worked better, in terms if I put it next to it, and then the next one, please. So yes, in my head it worked, and also here it worked slightly better. So this is the first test that I did, and in the second one, yeah, it looks better, but it's still not what I'm looking for. I feel that I need a lot more iterations, and I know 3D, it's better right now, and I know there are probably faster pipelines, but I really want to go back to drawing, and a drawing as a key part of animation, just not taking a million years. So, yeah, results were better, but still I'm still working on this. This was the first try that I did. And so what are the next steps for me? So first, fix some bugs that I found and then upload this to Git. I'm new at this whole thing, coding and also AI animation. So I failed to put this into Git for this presentation, but it's fine, I'll do it later. Then start testing new models or maybe new workflows. If any of you have a better workflow or a way to introduce more 2D hand-drawn art into AI, I'm happy to listen to anyone. Then I want to do a similar experiment, but just an iPad app. So this whole thing included the things that I use in Figma with. I just want to have it in an iPad application. I've done iPad applications before with Claude, and they actually work. So it's trying to do something like Procreate Dreams, but I hate Procreate Dreams, so a version that I actually like. And finally, if this is possible and it's not $1 million venture, maybe I can add some AI into this pipeline to just fix the frame. I tried before, for example, asking Nano, hey, can you fix this in between frame? And it fixed the quality of the image, but the frame itself didn't work. The thing that I drew worked better than that. And maybe some awareness of the previous and next frame. I'm just hoping this doesn't cost $1 million or 1 billion credits, because I don't want to pay that much. So that is basically it. Thank you so much. My Instagram is in.daga if you want to follow most of my art and the tests that I'm doing. You have questions, suggestions. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Daniela. I love your tenacity in getting into this and trying to solve a real big problem pretty much immediately. And I think that's the spirit of what we're looking at right now is, we're all coming in with this with traditional creative instincts, traditional workflows, and we're trying to figure out a way in this totally new way of creating our works and trying to find a middle ground and find new tools in real time. So you're doing the hard work. That's really cool.
I'm trying. Thank you so much.
Amazing. Any questions for Daniela?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, with regards to tool sets, have you looked at also, for me, I'm curious now with Adobe's software suite, how, they have the Photoshop and Firefly, all these different AI modalities, have you also tested with those ones, for example?
So I hate Adobe with all my heart, so I'm trying not to touch it. I'm trying not to use it. I use Photoshop eventually because it has Nano Banana, but I'm trying not to use it. I will, if it's a suggestion, I will try, but I'll try to not do it right now. Thank you.
I feel like, Danielle, you have a very big heart, so Adobe should be worried. Any other questions for Daniela?
Yeah. So for tools, you should try Invoke.
Which one?
Invoke.
Invoke?
Yes, Invoke.
Okay.
Use an in-painting model. It's designed specifically for making fine changes into
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
The other thing is, what is your Git repo and what license is it under?
I'm just creating it, so I'll post it in the Film AI group once I have like a decent version of this. Thank you so much.
Amazing. Any other questions for Daniela? Over here? Yep.
Have you played with Spline at all? Spline.
I've heard of it, but I haven't worked with it.
2D software. I have a pipeline for you that you might like.
Awesome. Thank you.
I love those words. I have a pipeline for you.
Yeah.
Those are words to our sweet ears who have been in the trenches for a while. So, any other questions? Cool. Definitely hit up Daniela, and thank you so much, Daniela. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
How cool is that? Like, that's the kind of cross-pollination that we all hope for, right? We present something in early stages, and there are millions of answers to help solve problems that are here along the way. How are you doing so far, everybody? How's this working out for you? We're sort of going into the weeds a little bit, and now it's my turn to kind of go up into the weeds. So I come from 25 years of content creation for commercials, corporate. Recently at the VFX shops, I got the band T-shirt on one of the films that I worked on, along with Dhruva, who is one of my teammates that's shown up here. We got the memo. We're wearing the same shirt, so it's great to see you, man. It's amazing to see you. I've dabbled into this not only to get my own works through, as some of you may have seen online or at the BC AI meetups, but also to help elevate corporate and commercial in ways that they just never had access to, except for like really high enterprise stuff. So when OnlyWeb approached me late last year to help tell the story of their new AI platform, which is a voice assistant that calls you and interviews you in real time and picks apart your information and then generates, your thought leadership posts for you in the background, it'd be really easy to just give like a UI demo and tell that story, but they didn't have a UI yet, and they didn't want to be aligned to one. It was I was making the commercial as they were building the tools, so I thought about the human element for it, and luckily, Claude came up with their brilliant commercial at roughly the same time as I was starting to develop this, and really reintroduced the human element of how you tell a story for a tech demo. Look it up. It's brilliant. It reminds me of the best of the Apple commercial years. It's really fantastic. So gleaming a lot from that, this is the little spot that I made for OnlyWeb.
What if your next big idea started with a conversation? Your best ideas don't wait for a desk. Morning routines, evening thoughts, every commute becomes creation time. You speak, we shape. Ideas take form. Keep moving while your thoughts do the work. Present for what matters. Your voice becomes your presence. Your ideas reach further. While you're here, just living, think out loud. Live fully. Lead thoughtfully. OnlyWeb. Your voice becomes your brand.
There it is. A full 98% generated spot. So Claude helped me come up with the script and the shot list. We ping-ponged back and forth based on, the type of story and the influences that we were doing. It helped me with all of my prompts. I've got Claude on the side-chained, helping me with my initial prompts and then iterating on prompts on things that I want to reinforce. And then I take all those prompts, and this was mostly Mid-Journey developed stills and then VO 3.1 fast generated video to basically give me all of my camera negatives as if I was shooting this as a cinematographer in individual shots. And then I bring all that into DaVinci Resolve, which is what I'm going to show you a little bit about how to do here. So a lot of it is generated, but there's a lot of human intention around it. And there's a lot of craft in terms of getting that kind of like organic texture and feel into it. So I'm going to, hopefully this guy's working. Yay. Okay. So this is DaVinci Resolve. And anybody using DaVinci Resolve right now? Okay, not bad, not bad. I know we've got a hate for Adobe already, but let me help you across and come to the DaVinci side because it's pretty amazing. I actually use both fairly equally, but I've not used Premiere as much because the things under the hood and even the free version of DaVinci Resolve are really, really, really powerful. Now, that being said, I'm going to use some things that are in the paid version, but that paid version is a one-time license fee for life. And it's really, 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 really worth it for some of the AI tools here. So to give you kind of an example of what these shots looked like before I added some zhuzhing to them, there's some parts After Effects and there's mostly generative stuff. So all the UI elements that you saw on top, that was handcrafted, After Effects stuff. AI is not very good at getting that together yet. And the intro graphics. So this is what the intro looks like. Here's some of the shots. About what you'd expect coming out of VO if you've got your prompts together. Now, the difference in getting these, into that sort of like organic look and feel is really some post-production love. So we can go into the color page here, and we can really mess around with how the exposure works. If it's like, oh, you know what, it's a little dark, but you can just move this slider and it's, you get some real-time feedback about what this is all about. And what's really great about, this looks daunting at first as like a node-based system. That's what the color in DaVinci is. DaVinci Resolve started out as one of the world's most powerful color correction tools. Most films that you see in Netflix series and all that, it goes through DaVinci Resolve, at least in the color pass and increasingly in the edit stage as well. And it's just this like really incredible, full-featured, you can do motion graphics and VFX inside of it. This is the Fusion page, the color page here, a really robust audio engine in here as well with a lot of it really incredible AI-assisted plugins that are built in. You don't even have to pay extra for them. A lot of them are in the free version to help, automatically level any dialogue that's in there, give you a nice clean mix, and it's really fast. So in terms of, really getting this sort of like look feel down, I just did something really blanket, and I really lean onto this a lot. So I'm going to add an adjustment clip. And what an adjustment clip does is it's something that you could just lump effects on all over. And I'm going to stretch it all over my shots here just to give it that span. And it's doing absolutely nothing right now. It's something that you can put effects on just like a clip, but anything below down here, it's going to affect everything underneath. So then also in effects, I'm going to simply add, and I have to remember which page it's in. Where did Film Look Emulator go? Okay, I can also do, oh gosh, now I'm loading a plugin and it's giving me all the updates. There we go, hang on. Film Look Creator, that's it. So this comes in with the studio version of DaVinci Resolve. It's a one-pass, instant, give you a bit of a film tonal look to it. So if I take this off right now, you can see that it's giving a little bit of love in something that's a little bit sharp and video-y. I'll do that full screen, sharp and video-y, Film Look Creator. And these are all selectable as well. So you can, there's all sorts of presets over here. So most of these will give you like different croppings or different sort of looks, like a bleach bypass here. Nostalgic look gives you a 4:3 sort of 8mm look. And, the sky's the limit here. And what I like to do is get this into just like a couple of different looks with it as well. And you can play around with the exposure of it. You can play around with the contrast, all those good things. And it's really fast. It's very responsive. Now, what I love to do to get that very, very, very nostalgic look is enable bloom. And can you see it on this one? Probably not so much, actually. Hang on. Let's see. Make sure that is enabled. Okay. Sometimes you'll see bloom happen on like super big highlights. So is that gonna, actually, let me just really accentuate it. So it gives a little bit of that glowy pop of like nostalgic film. And then grain is kind of the thing that really gets you into the nostalgia zone. So I've got a 65 millimeter preset right now. That's like just about IMAX level film. You're not going to see a lot of grain on it because it's very, very clean. But if you get it into 8 millimeter zone, that's where you start to see some of that grain come, right? And you play it, and it just feels a little bit natural more, right? Now you can play around with those settings too. So you can make the size big, you can make the amount go absolutely crazy. And I love applying these kind of effects, just like blanket across a video to just give it a little bit of hominess, you know? And you can do this with traditional footage too. It's meant for that first, but bringing these kind of nips and tucks into the generative age when you're, you know, fooling around with footage that comes from like 20 different models and trying to bring it all together, bring it together in the edit. Use all the tools. So that's what I got to show you for now. I do a ton of stuff in Resolve. I'm hoping to get a workshop together in, you know, combining all of these processes together, a lot of the traditional knowledge and workflows into generative film. So you get something with real intention out of it. So thanks for watching me play around in this playground. Any questions?
What kind of hardware are you running it on that you can do this in real time?
This is just an M2 Max. It's a pretty old Mac by current standards now. So
how much memory and storage?
I do have 64 gigs of RAM in here, so I am slanted on that. But you could really get going on even a 32 gig machine and a much less GPU. It's actually pretty light if you're working in just 1080p. So yeah.
Yeah, I have a more basic question. You know, when we're doing this type of work with film, we want to get physics correct. Mm-hmm. And I find a lot of these, the animation industry as a whole has not managed to get the physics right. So how do you fix that? For example, this example.
Time and time again of prompting. And there's magic cookbooks in terms of prompting as well. And Claude gets you a long way there once you start working with it and it learns your proclivities of how to move. And really, the newer models are getting so much better at getting that physics together. If this is all out of VO 3.1 Fast, which is actually pretty amazing that the cheap engine is able to put this kind of coherency out. But Kling, C Dance are all very good as well. And that's the thing; like the models are really improving by the week to give you this kind of efficacy. So yeah. Thank you for your question.
Just quickly with regards to obviously the thing you were advertising, was that also ever used in this, or just like, you know, I'm just like kind of curious now as like how you sell the actual product.
Yeah, and that's kind of the next stage. So this was kind of a first like here we are, hello world kind of concept, and having like the lifestyle human element, how it can elevate your life while still maintaining the constant cacophony of thought leadership, you know, working for you behind the scenes. So, and that's something we hope to visit very, very soon, as they've had a very successful launch in December. Here in town, working out of Cole Harbor, by the way. Really cool folks. Any other questions? Okay, we got one here and then one in the back, and then we'll move on.
Are you able to use LoRa's with the online generation?
I really haven't had to use many LoRa's yet. Again, prompting, refining prompting gets you in the ballpark.
It just takes so long sometimes. It's like, skipping over. Or do like a 3D simulation so you can get the physics right.
Yeah, and that's, we're going to explore video-to-video workflows on that basis too. That's a very exciting region where it's kind of like motion capture that you see in Avatar, but the model really patterns after the facial movements, the body movements, the set pieces, and brings it into a very cohesive universe. So yeah, that's definitely something we're going to visit, and a very exciting avenue too. And that's the thing. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of ways to put generative film together, and it's not just prompting and getting something out, although that's a very popular way to do it. The field of how to actually get generative film together is increasing by the minute. Lots of different modalities are coming together, and that's where creative, fertile playgrounds really come. So there was one more question in the back. Yeah, go for it.
Taking it way out of the technical, assuming that you have worked in or still working in live action at some point, how do client expectations change once AI enters the workflow?
Yeah, that is a very, very good question. The state of the union today is have patience. It is highly iterative. There's a lot of chance for hallucinations, and there are a lot of variables to look for. And it's very analogous to early visual effects days. Actually, your input is going to define your output very much, and how arduous it is to get your output. So, those of us that are really on the bleeding edge ask for, people to commission, to have an open mind. And, often the workflow is set one day, and then the next day another tool comes out that enables something that was impossible yesterday. And then, we try a bunch of new shots over again. It's like the production process is extremely fluid right now, because the rate of change is crazy, as we saw with 90 odd models coming out in 2025 alone. So one more question, then we'll move on. Yeah.
I noticed you had about a dozen clips or so.
Yeah.
So you individually created those all in VO.
Yes.
I'm just wondering, because the longer that I mess around with VO or any of those programs, it starts to kind of lose its, just kind of gets distorted, and the AI distorts the video. So I'm just kind of curious, to put together, that video, how long did it take to make each clip? Because that's kind of the prompting and reprompting, right?
Yeah.
I'm just kind of curious, how long would a video like this take?
So this one was actually remarkably fast. And I did have the Google AI Ultimate plan at that point. If you do your first 3 months, it's an incredible discount. And what AI Ultimate gives you is infinite VO3.1 fast generations. It's unlimited. And you can queue up, I think it's at least 20, I think it's maybe 40 generations at once. And it's really quite powerful in getting a lot of takes out at the same time. So I really like using VO3 natively through Flow. It's super valuable to and then they add additional features for Ultimate users as well. There's the capacity to reframe your shots after a generation as well. So if you don't like how a shot was panned left to right, you can make it more of a truck in after the generation is done, but maintain all of the consistency that you had in your previous take. So it's really cool to use these aggregates like Susaku or Pika or these repositories that have multiple models under one hood, but it's really valuable to also use the models on their native platform too, because there's often a lot of extra bells and whistles that really, if you've got your workflow dialed in for each project, it's worth going for an individual one too. Absolutely. All right.
Sorry, just to follow up on that.
Yep.
Fast, but I'm just kind of wondering, because fast could be different for, was it 30 minutes fast? Was it 4 hours fast?
Yeah. I had my first pass going within 3 hours. Yeah. And that was through a lot of iterations and pulling and trying out. And I didn't actually reprompt very much because I'm kind of in, I know what I'm looking for these types of shots, and I know how to steer Claude to give me the right prompts to do that. And that only comes with play and trial and error and working with Claude, and it learns off of you what your proclivities are too. All right. Last question. Hey.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you, man.
I'm really the bus with the reflection and just having it pull away on the shot. Are you controlling the environment that much with your prompt?
No, I'm giving it an environment. I'm giving it an input shot, a still. And I let VO take the wheel because it's got DeepMind baked under the hood. And it probably has some of the best understanding of what happens in the real physical universe out of all the models right now, because they've just been at the game really, really, really long. So I really like just giving it sort of like basic scenario and maybe some key things, and let the model just give me the goods in terms of, you know, the realism out of it. And then I'll pick and choose which one actually works for the vibe that I'm going for. And that's it. You know, right now it's working with intention and working with the hallucinations, because those are amazing happy accidents right now. Absolutely. And they can take you in a whole different direction that you never imagined. And there's just some little performance ticks like, oh, that arm movement was awesome. It accentuates, you know, professionalism and thought leadership. This is great. I didn't prompt for that, but it gave me that, you know? So it is a real sort of like push and pull relationship with these models at the moment. So, all right. Any more questions? Hit me up afterwards. But thank you very much, folks. Coming up next, we've got Michael Tippett, who's got a whole host of new discovery tools, and also a really fun short film to show us as well. Michael Tippett has been really in a whole bunch of different industries. He's been a part of big businesses and your own endeavors as well, which are really exciting. You know, tell us a little bit what we're up to before we get into your clip.
Thanks. This is a fantastic event. What an amazing space, and I've met so many great people here. It's really fantastic. So, yeah, I've been in the technology space for 25 plus years. I'm not an actual filmmaker. I'm more of a technology person, although I did go to film school way back when and studied multimedia when it was called that, and have been in a number of different things. I've spent a lot of time in social media. I was at Hootsuite for a while. I was at Later. I ran an accelerator called Grow Lab. And 2 years ago, I just decided that AI was just going to change everything in the communication world. And in my view, video is the future of communication and AI is the future of video. And so I basically decided to just commit myself to understanding how it was going to play out. And so for the last 2 years, I've been doing that and have been making films, like pretty good films. Many of the people in this room are much better filmmakers than I am, but it's really an effort for me to just understand how the technology works. And in the process, have come up with a bunch of different tools and products that I've built that have helped me understand how the industry works. And so I'll show you a couple of those here. We can do that after the film if you want. Yeah. So I'll tell you a little bit about this particular piece. It's an episode from a micro-series that I've got running called West Side City. And it's kind of like the underbelly of the west side of, it's technically based on New York, but you know, just all of the sordid characters you'd find in a underbelly of a city. And it's based on the prequel, which was a movie called Impunity, which is about agentic crime. And the idea is that the machines are robbing themselves and the buildings are stealing from themselves. And so our detective is trying to figure out how this whole agentic crime thing is working.
With Pike, every meeting began with him giving you advice about your personal affairs.
You know, Malone, you should really lay off the horses with the luck you've been having lately.
Not because he gave a shit, but because he wanted you to know that he sees everything. Pike was giving me a hard time about my investment habits, and today actually was not a good day on that front. But here's the thing. Pike is the most despicable person you'll ever meet. And that's because his job is to bury the news of anyone who is more despicable.
$500? It's the fucking mayor. You kidding?
As the owner of West Side Post, the city's biggest tabloid, you'd think he'd make his money publishing stories. No, that's old school. Now you make money hiding them. Classic catch and kill. Someone pays you to pay someone else for an exclusive story. You get it and put it in a vault for when you might need a good information weapon.
Where reason meets the street, where the cost of revelation.
The problem is that in this age of constant surveillance, The catch and kill game has become a consumer market. With everyone and their dog paying some fucking asshole not to share the footage he took with his collection glasses. It's like we're all operating as undercover versions of ourselves, trying not to blow our cover, while the world we inhabit has an insatiable curiosity about our every waking moments. Pike, what do you know about this art theft? You keeping that on the DL for one of your sleazy clients too?
I know the same as you. Nothing. Just what I've seen in the news. The machines in the gallery made off with all the loot. Agentic crime. What a world when a building can rob itself. Now, I gotta be somewhere else.
Despicable indeed. Well, if Pike isn't talking, maybe I'll go across town, uptown, and see what Barrington has to say. That pompous asshole.
What?
If Pike was looking at the world from the gutter,
What you talking?
Barrington was looking at it from the clouds.
No, you're good. Yeah. That was amazing, Michael. Actually, I'm going to give you this one.
Okay.
And I'm going over here. All right. You always have a ton of style in your pieces. You not only just give us these like themes and motifs, but you give us these like visual cues that really embed us into whichever cinematic universe, from the absurd to the deeply, darkly existential that we saw in the October meetup, which was absolutely amazing. Tell us a bit more about, how you ideate and your process of generating your generations.
For me, it usually starts with an idea. Like the Obey film that you referenced earlier was a story about a pig who kind of grows up in a slaughterhouse and always has confidence that like the universe has bigger plans for him, and so he kind of marches through and gets slaughtered. And
I love that film, by the way. It sounds really fun, but honestly, it is incredibly well done. Yeah.
And so that was a response to Peter Thiel.
Okay.
and just the idea that in this world of like AI, the best case scenario is like infinitely incredible, and the worst case scenario is like Armageddon, and we're kind of 50-50. It's
very binary. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I just wanted to kind of like put myself in, or somewhat the viewer in a position where they would, maybe have a blind loyalty to an idea, and have to think about their choices.
That's so cool. What brought this piece together?
I lived in New York for 5 years, and we used to work in the meatpacking district and then in Hell's Kitchen, and I just found the whole world so fascinating, and this kind of like seedy off-Broadway world. And so I just made up some characters. They all represent like a component of the city. Like there's the sleazy tabloid guy doing the catch and kill thing, which is kind of based on the Inquirer. And then there's like Barrington, who's like the New York Times. And then there's going to be politicians. And then there's this girlfriend who's kind of like this interesting character. And
it's really your sketch of what you saw and felt every day in this living, breathing mega metropolis, right?
Yeah.
That's super dope. That's super dope. And it gives you a lot of perspective for, that creative voice that is always yearning to be expressed. Tell us about this new frontier and how that has unlocked your creative voice.
I think one of the things it's done is it's exposed to me that like I have a bit of a gloomy disposition at times.
You don't say.
And so I deliberately tried to create a film about utopia, right? And so it's like this multi-series piece, and it was like bullet trains, and like they'd solved the environmental problem, and like no inflation and free education, and like everyone was having a good time at a party, and it just seemed really kind of boring. You know what I mean? And then I realized that like utopia is kind of bullshit. So I don't know. For me, it's like it becomes kind of like psychotherapy.
It sounds like you've been in New York for a while, Michael. That's awesome. I love the texture and the grit that you add to everything. And in the spirit of that creative expression, tell us about some of these discovery tools that you've got cooking for filmmakers all over to really take advantage of.
Sure. Is that on the screen? Yeah. So there's this one I'll go through real quick. This is called ADO, and it's basically an AI tool for discovering how to do things in AI. And I built this for myself, and so it's now 2 years old. And the way it works basically is, would you mind? Can I use this microphone?
Yeah, go right. Go for it.
Hands free. So what you can do is you can type something in here, like is Canva free? Is Canva free? And it will answer you. And so what you're able to do here is kind of like save all of your notes here. So I can save this note. Oh, sorry, I got to sign in.
You have to sign your own terms and conditions, Michael.
That's right. They're very onerous. So what you're able to do is you're able to save the answer here, because what you'll find is as you're researching all these tools, you'll just have like all these notes everywhere, and it gets really confusing. And so what this does is it puts it all in one place. And so I now have my notebook here, which has got all my notes, and then I can summarize those notes into things like it's about CapCut or it's about lip syncing or what have you. And so you can go in and you can read these, and it gives you all your information. And you can also ask anything about any tool, and you can save tools, and so you can have like a toolbox in here. So it's just a place to kind of organize your thoughts. So that's one thing. You can use it for free. I use it. I built it so I could figure all the stuff out, and so you guys can use it for free. It's a fun thing. The other thing that I built was, 2 years ago, it was unclear who was making AI films, and so I put this directory together of the top AI filmmakers. And so now it's grown to over 700 films. There's some folks in here that have set up accounts. It's a tool that allows creators to upload their own videos, and they get sorted and voted on. And there's a free service, and then there's a $20 a month service. But anyone in this room who wants the paid service for free, just let me know, and you guys get a free account just because I want to support the Vancouver community. But like I said, 700 films in there, some of the best filmmakers in the world. We've got a couple of other ways of presenting it. We have this thing called TV, AI TV, and this is great. Just go to tippet.org/TV, and you can watch this on your phone, or you can put it up on your web browser on your giant television. And what it does is it pulls in a random list of all the AI films in the directory. And so it's just a really great way of educating yourself on all the stuff that's out there. And every time I pull it up, I see something that I haven't seen before. And then we have all of these different categories as well. And we have a This Week in Film, so that's kind of like a weekly magazine. And then, like I said, we have these creator pages. And this is actually Luke's creator page. And so it's his page. It's got all of his videos. He can use the tools to import directly from YouTube. And then he's got this button here that says Work with Tiny Ghost Studios, which is his studio. The idea that what I'm trying to do here is I'm not the best AI filmmaker in the world, but there's people out there who are. And so I want to go and get as much business as I can, and then send them to the people who are in this directory. So if you guys want business and you want your work promoted, sign up and I'll give you guys a free account. So hopefully that helps.
Super cool, Michael. Thank you so much. Michael and his wife, Kate Armstrong, are really the embodiment of bringing people together into the room. You've done this on several occasions through all of this. And, sharing the love here, creating opportunity as all of our funnels expose us to a lot of these work opportunities, and distributing that load when we invariably have too much is really the resonant positive spirit, as much as you like to say that you're a grumpy guy. It's pretty incredible what you're up to, Michael. And I always, Michael presents these tools to me, and they look like this. Like, this guy's, innate design chops are just, they're there. This is not an engineer just cranking things out and giving you the wireframes and have at it. It's like they are cohesive experiences right out of the gate. I've always admired that about what you get up to, even in your early experimental stages, Michael. Thank you so much. Any questions for Michael before we move on? Yeah, we got a couple. Ahmed, we'll start with you.
How do you find it difficult to maintain consistency of characters, continuity between shots, between different shots? Like for the main cast across the whole movie?
I mean, I'm kind of a technical idiot, to be completely honest. Like, a lot of the stuff that was shown here, I was kind of confused by. I use a lot of really off-the-shelf tools. Like, one of the tools I use the most is Kriya. I don't know if you guys use Kriya, but it basically plugs in all the models. And so I find that in certain instances, certain models are better with consistency. Like, maybe it's a vehicle or a face or a object or something. Or depending on the kind of movement you want, like if it's something that is a person moving or a machine moving or weather or something, they're often, it's kind of like, every use case requires a different methodology. And with Kriya, it's great because I can kind of run the image generation through 3 or 4 models, and they all have a slightly different flavor, and they're better or worse in different instances. And then I do the same thing with the image to video. I usually start with the image and then image to video. And the video tools are the same, where some of them deal with different kinds of movement differently.
You've hit the nail on the head. It's, with all of these models coming out so quick and furious, it can be daunting just getting familiar with what each model is good at. We've hinted at that a couple of times now, but you've really, aggregate sites like Kriya, like Susaku, like Pika, they give you a really intuitive playground to be able to see, where your creative imagery is really going to work with each model that comes, pretty much on the day that it comes out.
Yeah.
All of these aggregate sites have them. So they're really great first grounds to spitball your creative ideas.
Yeah, they're a little bit more expensive, I would say. And they're also, like you were saying, sometimes the native version has the
definitely
more supercharged functionality, but generally speaking, it's like 80% of the way there, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I was talking to Michael earlier, so I'll keep this short. I do have something that can improve the experience. A lot of people don't know that sometimes the question itself is insight. So with your website there, it would be a really good suggestion possibly that you include the question or even the prompt, like a reverse prompt for your answer. And that would be a way that somebody could relive that generation.
Yes. Yes. I have some ideas. Actually, one of the things I'm working on right now is I'm working with a couple of news organizations in the States, trying to connect the source material of a news story with the output of that news story. And I think that's like a very interesting question in this era of fake news, especially for the news industry, because they're going to get overwhelmed by slop. So that's kind of what this tool does, is it kind of like breaks down the path that you go through in order to generate that image. So in the context of news, it's like, this is exactly what happened at the robbery, right? We know that from the original photograph. But you could also have that as part of the kind of background story in the production of a film. It's an interesting idea, actually. I hadn't thought about that.
That's really cool. Any other questions? All right. get in touch with Michael, keep up with him. He's always up to a bunch of cool things. Thanks for coming up tonight, Michael, and sharing all of your tools and passion and love. We appreciate it.
All right, great to be here. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Luke, it is your time. Luke stormed me at the end of a BC AI event while I was sitting at this, similar console over here running the tech show, and we have been locked at the hip ever since. It's such a delight to curate this space with you and Chris and Mayumi and all of the other volunteers on board. And Luke comes from decades of animation director experience on some of the biggest properties that you can think of, both toys and just visual properties. And you have really embraced this new frontier head on with your own stamp. So before we get to showing Tiny Ghosts Reel, tell us about yourself a bit more.
Actually, why don't we just show the reel, because I'm going to talk a bit about myself in the talk. So
okay.
let's just run it and we'll go from there.
All right.
Tiny Ghost Studios. Tiny Ghost.
Get a load of all that craft.
Yeah. So I don't know, how many people here are in animation? Cool. Not a lot of you. Actually, I'm surprised. But anyways, actually, maybe not that surprised. A lot of animators hate AI right now. Which I get. I've come in through animation. I haven't done a talk like this for a while, so I'm kind of like looking at my slides, but I don't know how much I'll do that. But so that is about a year's worth of work if I did it by myself, and I did it in like 2 to 3 weeks, and that's like I'll design characters and so I use a hybrid approach. Right now, some of the things, the quality could be better if you did it with the traditional 3D pipeline. But there's also some of the things, like if I was doing it, I came up through animation. I was an animator for a long time myself as well. I can't, some of the micro expressions there, some of the little nuances in the acting, I wouldn't have been able to do myself. So some things are actually better than I would have been able to do hand animating. Basically, just a little bit about me. I've been doing animation for about 30 years. I started when I was 17, and I got my first directing job at 21, and I've been doing film, TV, games, and even had the privilege of actually doing my own IP, creating, writing, directing. And so I've been around a lot. And, one of the things that as these tools were getting better, starting to think about, all the skills I've developed over the years, the networking, with clients, with other people, is that now becoming obsolete, and I think there's a lot of people out there that are afraid of that, like, more beyond the other concerns that, people talk a lot about stealing and IP concerns and stuff. But I think there's a real visceral fear about being replaced. And so that's a little bit what I want to talk about tonight. And so just a little bit more about myself at age 12. Basically, I want to talk about the dream of like, why do we do film? Why did I get into animation? I'm coming obviously from a more animation perspective, but I think this probably resonates with a lot of people that are in film and got into film in the first place. For me, it was age 12, sitting in the theater watching Jurassic Park for the first time, and seeing these dinosaurs. I was always drawing dinosaurs, monsters, all that kind of stuff. And when I sat there and when I saw those, it was the Velociraptors for me. Really, like the T-Rex was cool, but the Velociraptors, I was just like, oh my God. And I just like had this like giddy, excited feeling like throughout that movie. And I was just like, this is what I want to do. I want to bring monsters to life. Like that is all I want to do. And that kind of like continued on. I started teaching myself at 15. I spent all my summer money on buying 3D Studio Max, the original version, to learn how to do it. And, eventually, got my first job at 17 and went to school, dropped out of school because I got a job right halfway through school. And just like really passionate about it. But that passion all came down to this idea of like, I want to make my imagination, which is really crazy and weird, come to life. I want to show other people what's in this little thing here. And that was the real passion. And then, so I go, did the school, dropped out, started doing work, was so excited. And then I was doing, cheap plastic gags with cheap plastic story to sell cheap plastic toys. That's like, most of my career, and even in directing, I've done a lot of stuff for toys. And so, yeah, big names like, I've done a lot of Barbie, done way too much Barbie, but it's not why I went to school, right? It's not the art and the imagination that I wanted to show other people. And I think most of the jobs, being a director, you have more creative control, but like most of the jobs that I've done in animation, you're a bit of a cog in a machine. You're not really, it takes a lot of skill, yes, but you're not being creative the way you think you're going to be when you're in art school. And so this is one of the things that that I find that basically I kind of want to talk about is kind of recapturing the art school dream, because a lot of the skills are a lot of the things that you used to have to do are now just like, you don't have to do them. You can just like play and create and iterate and experiment. And there's so much stuff out there that is really, truly unique that you'd never see anywhere else. And I think, and it's currently overwhelmed by a lot of the slop, a lot of us have seen that slop, but there are also some like niche creators out there that are just doing incredible work that just would never be funded, and there's such an opportunity for new voices to come and new ways to tell stories. So just where I started with my AI journey was just kind of starting with curiosity. There was, some good, lots of bad, and very fascinating, all around, all very fascinating. Being able to, just really quickly iterate. I think that was the biggest thing that drew me is being able to, at first, when AI tools first started coming out, just the image stuff, there's nothing usable really for professional grade work. But I found like, for me, it's all been about, and still is about, finding like, okay, where does this tool fit? What aspect of production does it fit well with? And so like even in the early days, it was just really a concepting tool, just like really quick iteration on a concept. Oh, I want this character to have like a tomato hat or whatever, you know, and just like do stuff that I would have never been able to do before. See it visually instead of just like thinking about it or even sketching it, which would take so much longer. So it really started with that curiosity, and I soon found that like, you know, that sort of just even in the concepting phase, it enabled me to really move a lot faster and get to things a lot quicker for production, because I was able to not just. I think one of the things that you have to do almost when you're on production timeline is just do what you've always done because you know it works, and so there's not a lot of novelty able to produce. That's why so many things look the same. That's why so many things, 3D animations, look like Pixar and Disney, because you know there isn't that time on these budgets to really create and play. And when you do play and create, sometimes you get things like Delgo. I don't know if you guys remember Delgo. I'm sorry if anybody here worked on it, but it's just really awful. Anyways. So I found one of the things that I found through this is again just kind of recapturing that magic of what I wanted to do in art school. You know, what I wanted to do when I was 12, sitting there and imagining that, you know, because it doesn't take millions of dollars anymore. It doesn't take weeks and months worth of work. You can like rip something out in a weekend. And so it is that it really brings back a lot of the play versus the grind. Like I was always kind of thinking about, you know, the creative. There's like the 20% creative and there's the 80% grind. And I think that with AI now, it's flipped it on its head. There's the 80% creative and the 20% grind. There's always going to be the grind, I think, like in fixing things and stuff like that, because nothing's perfect right out of the gate. Lots of iterations, a lot of what I did in there was a lot of cleanup in After Effects as well, color correction, even just painting out errors to make it look studio quality.
I just want to call attention to this beautiful slide that you have made. And maybe this is a natural leapfrog at this point.
Sure. Oh yeah, this is supposed to be behind here while I'm talking. I like D&D. I don't know if you guys could tell from the trailer. Me and Mayumi, who's the CEO of Tiny Ghost Studios. I'm the Chief Amazement Officer, by the way. We run it out of our little home office. I think one of the words I put down is unslopification. I think there is so much of that slopification out there already, and I think. As the professionals in the room, especially, there's a lot of opportunity to use your eye, your taste, your experience to direct the outputs to be like really incredible. At this point, we're at a point now where studio quality AI animation is possible. You won't be able to tell. Like, and you know, there's some things in what I did recently. I mean, Kevin's you can't tell. There's you know, a lot of the stuff in what I did. Most people won't be able to tell. And when you can tell, like that's because I did it like, you know, a month ago. Now I can definitely, and even just spending a little bit more time doing some cleanup. You won't be able to tell. So it's here already. And I think there's that aspect of it because it is here. I know there's a lot of studios that are hesitant. There's a lot of hard feelings about it. But I also know, because I've been talking to studio heads too, things aren't getting greenlit right now. People are waiting to see what happens with AI. The things that are getting greenlit are kind of like in hush whispers about, you know, like, well, we should start doing this here. And there's some really big names and big studios that are quietly moving into AI right now. We're looking at actually like, it's the costs and the timelines are at least 50% less, and down to 70% less. And so, but I think like, what it is, what we're experiencing here as our studio is, it's all about a hybrid approach, really. It's not like a lot of people are like thinking about, oh, it's AI, you're just prompting and that's it. And Kevin showed you too. It's not. There's a lot to it. There's a lot of work that goes in, and I think a lot of the people that have the previous skill set and stuff like that, there's a lot of opportunity there. And a lot of opportunity even with us. One of the reasons I wanted to even get up and speak here is because we're going to need to hire people soon, because we're getting a lot of interest. This month alone it's crazy. So little background: we're running a game studio for the past 2 years, and we've been trying to get it funded, doing the VC route, all that stuff, and just. It hasn't worked. And, as soon as we did the AI Film Festival and had our thing there, Kevin invited us to be a part of that. We've just been like, people have been coming at us like crazy, just, asking us to do work or starting conversations around work. And now we're talking to some really big household names. I can't say yet, but about doing hybrid AI shows and running them. And it's just like right now it's just me and Miami, and we're so it that all happened this week actually. There's also just had a call today with another studio that is asking to pay us to make our own IP, that we get to keep the IP as well. So it's really, really crazy times. But there's a lot of opportunity, and I think, and it's not just. I'm not even just coming from this. Like, I don't honestly really care about the money. I mean, obviously, I need enough money to live, but I am so excited that I get to do art again, and just be really playful with it. And I think there's a huge opportunity here to just recapture that fire of experimentation, playfulness, and creativity. And so, I think that's mostly what I wanted to say. I just kind of skipped over a lot of this stuff, but I think, I guess basically to kind of sign it off, I think this is one of the reasons, we want to do this community too here is to, I think Vancouver has an incredible animation, VFX, film community already. And I've worked in Toronto, I've worked with LA people. Sorry if any of those people are here, but I love Vancouver's ecosystem. There's a lot less ego, generally speaking. It's a lot more collaboration, and I really feel like this. We have an opportunity here to, just build a community in which we can share and collaborate. There's a lot of opportunity, even just because things are changing so quickly and so dramatically, and because this technology, unlike 3D, like I also lived through the transition from 2D to 3D animation, and that was still very cloistered, right? Because you had this really big, you have to have these really crazy computers to do 3D and stuff like that. But that was super disruptive. And this is way more disruptive because anybody can do it, right? And so I think there's a real opportunity for us to come together and really, share with each other tips and tricks. And there's so many tools out there. Like, some of us will be better at other tools. And sorry, am I going too long?
No, you're bringing it home, buddy. Go for it.
Yeah. And so I'm excited about the potential for us to collaborate, and what I want to say too is like collaborate. What I'm seeing is collaborations that are less top down and more horizontal, because there isn't really studios that are able to kind of. Studios move slowly, and so it's people that are able to move quickly individually who can kind of capture a niche of production that when we share that together in community, there's a lot more of an egalitarian sort of, profit sharing and stuff like we've been talking about this, even just me and Mayumi, just like, how do we want to do this? How do we build a studio that we really want to work at? And again, it's not really about the money, which, you got to have the money, but it's really about getting that art. It's about working with people and, so I'm excited for that potential. I think there's so much of it here, and would love to chat with anybody who wants to chat with me about that kind of stuff.
You're a beautiful human, Luke. In an increasingly robotic time, we need voices like yours and all of yours to carry this further. Like, you've really hit the nail on the head. There is so much more opportunity than ever right now. Your inbox is getting flooded. My inbox is getting flooded. Those of us who are on the front lines, we're really seeing some incredible opportunities here. And we want to work with good people. And that's a big part of this industry, of why we're gathering too, is getting everybody who's curious about it, level up, have these amazing surprise artists come out of nowhere and just had these chops and be like, cool, do you want to jam on this Mattel thing? This is awesome, and that's it. It's sharing that love. So Mayumi, you had a giant hand up here. I'm going to pass you the mic.
I have a shameless plug, is what I have. Hi, everyone. Hi, I'm Mayumi. One of the things that Luke and I talk about a lot is we have been involved in this, not quite implosion, but contraction of our industry, and how it's transitioning so fast that I don't think people realize how far it's already transitioned in a place where they're trying to hold on to what they have. So one of the things that we are doing is we're actively putting together some upskilling courses, some cohorts where people can, either if you've been existing in the animation scene, or if you want to get into it, just to give you an idea of like what the expectations are now versus what's coming out in the future. And this is through conversations that we're having with other studios and schools and things like that. So if you have any questions about that, please reach out to me. Luke's always bombarded with things, and I'm very approachable. So you can reach me on LinkedIn. Afterwards, I'm taking questions and happy to talk to you.
Yeah,
amazing.
I also like to say, there's, I think, are there any students here too?
Put your hand down, okay. Patrick.
But I also wanted to just give a little thing, I was also laid off in this whole, transition that's happening.
Me too.
And and it's hard. And I'm not trying to. I don't want anybody to get the impression that I'm trying to belittle the struggles that people are going through currently, or that have been. We haven't made money for almost 2 years, and it's been tough. And now all of a sudden it's exploding. And there's an opportunity, but there's still going to be a lot of struggle because a lot of jobs are going away. But I want to really encourage people here that there's a lot of opportunity as well. And it's really just started as far as it's good that we've been playing around with it for a while, because people now think we're experts, which is hilarious to me. But it's also it's really exploding right now. We're going to need to hire people soon, and there are so many people looking for it, even though it's kind of quiet because there's a lot. It's a really weird space where people hate on it so much. But the thing is, it's here, it's happening. You can hate on it all you want. You're just going to have to end up working at, I don't know, something else, not film, because that's, there's always going to be Pixar's, there's always going to be Illumination Entertainment. Those are, Leica Studios, those are all going to be hand animated for probably some long time. But, the majority of work that's out there is mid to low range, just consumer content. And that's the majority of that, I personally, what I'm seeing, I think about 80% of that is going to be done AI by the end of the year. As not they're going to be starting anything that started is going to be AI by the end of the year, at least 80%.
It's a pretty opportune time to see that on the horizon. And as you mentioned, we get to write the rules right now.
Yeah.
Right? We get to see, the shell of where everything is evolving and turning from. And it's so early, even though it's come very fast. And it seems like it's the entire horizon. There is so much more horizon to shape and discover in all of this. And we get to write those rules, right? If we don't have seats at the table, if we don't come up with our experience, with our knowledge, with our acuity and our new skills, we don't get to have a seat at the table and dictate those rules. We can craft a pretty amazing, at least a middle ground, and maybe some sliver of a utopia inside of this creative industry. Who knows? It's wide open right now. So it's really
not a total utopia, because that would bore Michael.
That's true. That's true. Michael, just, we'll send you some of our dark outtakes just to appease you. I want to get into some quick questions before we wrap things up for Luke. Anybody out there have questions for Luke?
First of all, to answer your question, I'm a student too, and I'm in the IBIS lab where we study AI-human interaction. And my supervisor, Steve DePaula, has been in this area, and we study AI art as well, so it's super relevant. I'm also using AI to help professional women practicing their salary negotiation. It's reported by CBC and CTV. You can go there and check it out. Earlier you were asking a question. I was in the corner, so I really wanted to add it up. And I want to offer something because I'm hosting broadcasting show with live streaming, and it has a really good traction. Every time it has almost 30K people visit it. So anybody wanting to get anything exposed and promote with you're doing, you're welcome to my show. I literally just have
Hell yeah.
Wonderful offer. Thank you.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Really, I think people just come and they promote not selling to the audience, but you tell your story until what you're thinking is super beautiful about how this is exploding and how people lose their job, and now you get to write the rules. This is exactly what I'm promoting for this, and my show is also facing to Chinese audiences and Canadians, so Chinese people get to connect, and then we will find clients or something like that. And I can send you the data of my traction, so it's advertised.
Okay. Amazing. All right. What's your name? Sorry?
I'm Charlotte.
Charlotte. Thank you so much, Charlotte. I really appreciate you bringing that out and sharing your fire and enthusiasm on that. That is super cool. This is what it's all about. Cross-pollination to create opportunities. That's super, super cool. Yeah.
So I guess also one of the major things with the AI being kind of concern is, of course, data scraping, content scraping. So how do you make sure that your studio emphasizes the importance of personally generated content?
Yeah, absolutely. So the question was about scraping and making sure that your own IP and that really you're showing that I forget what it's called, but just the fact that it's human created. Mm-hmm. There's a million ways to use AI, and you can do a fully 3D animated production using AI tools to help do actual animation on 3D models and stuff. For example, there's just so many different ways, and so ultimately it comes down to your process. There's a lot of, it depends on, Netflix and Disney, if you're producing for them, they're going to have different rules around AI usage than if you're producing for YouTube or TikTok. And so it's really good. We're familiarizing ourselves with what the law is, and what other things are. There are fully licensed things like Moon Valley, where all the AI generation is all done by fully licensed content. So there's no scraping. Everybody who has been trained on there has been paid for their work. So there are ways to do things in that regard. So, and it's really case by case basis. So,
absolutely.
I'm not getting paid any money for this one, so don't really care whatever. I just use whatever tool works for that. So
yeah, IP safe, work is going to be such a granular case by case process as we move through this. I mean, you bring up Disney. Disney just pumped $1 billion into OpenAI, and they've got a deal to use Sora 2 as an infinite remixing engine that's going to be embedded into Disney Plus by users, right? Which is pretty wild.
Even just
right?
just to talk a little bit about the IP thing, I think the conversation is very unnuanced. I think this is a whole other conversation.
Absolutely.
Really, we don't have time for it tonight. But the conversation around IP is actually really nuanced because of how the training is done, but also the fact that a lot of people, I remember when Disney was taking Midjourney to court, people were like, yeah, I don't usually cheer for Disney, but yeah, go Disney, take them down because I hate AI. And it's like, that Disney's taking them to court so that they control the AI production process, right? And
it's like the new hostile takeover is take someone to court.
It's not about shutting it down. It's about control, right? And the thing is, like, before I go on a big tangent, I just want to say, Disney has been, sorry, is this being recorded? But companies like Disney, we'll say, have been very predatory and exploitative of artists. Right. And there's very few artists who actually own the IP that they create or work on. These are mostly owned by huge conglomerates that that have exploitative practices. So I think when I hear artists getting all up in, there's certain artists, yes, that are absolutely getting taken advantage of by this AI thing, but most of us who work professionally aren't. And it's the big corporations who are jockeying for power so that they can exploit us even further. So I don't really feel like that line of conversation is honest in a lot of ways, and it must be more nuanced.
And it's an evolving process too. Like, it's changing by the minute, just like the models. Like, the courts are still figuring it out as we speak. Yeah.
Just on the flip side, though, so when it is AI generated, the copyright isn't by a human, and so it can prove in the courts that you can't own it. So how do you approach IP when that's the case?
Yeah, so you actually, like I said, there's so many different ways to use AI, right? So, for example, we've been looking at some Indigenous show ideas and thinking about getting an actual Indigenous artist to create, 3D models like sculptures and take pictures and photos of those things, and then use a thing like Seedream or VO3 to animate them afterwards. So in that case, that is enough proof to actually own the IP, and so there's a lot of different ways around it. It just depends on how you use the tools, and again, there's millions of ways to use the tools.
Absolutely. One more question before we wrap things up. Okay, well, is it a quick one you got too? It is.
Come talk to me after.
We appreciate your honesty. Thank you for taking one for the team. Let's go for it.
So in the AI, I am usually known for an AI stance and the everything. But looking at the work and when you presented your work and how you were working, this thought occurred to me that people, one is we don't really talk about the audience. We are assuming that all the work that we are doing will be accepted by audience as we are doing. So it's AI, whatever you do, it is a new visual language, which is constrained within the tool system, tools ecosystem. Your tool defines your output, right? So we should be very careful of the acceptance, widespread. When you say everybody will be doing 70% of the production would be AI and all that, how will it affect the audiences and their adoption to what we are doing? We should know that. And I would still say recommend everybody to focus on your core skills. These are tools. I've seen tools coming from Flash, Tame, would change the world.
You're right.
This and that. End of the day, all of these tools and all this pipeline becomes just a test job. It is the skills like Donna here. Danny. Yeah. It is the skill sets again and again that we will require. I mean, if today you work for 25 years.
Yep.
That's why you could say, oh, I knew what I wanted to do.
Exactly.
That's why I forced the tool to do what needs to be done. For new people and learning new skills and coming up artists, people who we want to hire, they don't have this 25 years of actual practice. So
That's very true.
hiring would become more expensive and your skill set will become more expensive shortly. So it's not all bad even if everything is done by AI. So just wanted to add a rare positive.
Yeah. I guess
you nailed it.
I totally agree on most of what you said. I think when it comes down to the my prediction of 80%, I don't know. Like I who am I? But
if I may, I think there's a room where we're going to see grass-fed organic content.
Absolutely.
We're seeing this in social media prognostication for this year. It's like coming back to in real life experiences, handcrafted pieces. I think there's going to be a wider swath of appreciation of craft emerging out of this, right?
Yeah. I think that's true. I think the artistic stuff is going to stay hand done, I guess. But I think like the reality is the majority of content, and just to my experience with like budgets and like what kind of content even gets greenlit in the first, it's so dollar and cents, right? You work at Netflix, and so just the fact that I can now produce studio quality. People won't tell. Nobody's going to be able to tell. We're not going to advertise that this is done with AI. You're going to have to research it really, and so if I can offer production services for less than 50% of what they traditionally cost, that's a huge. It doesn't matter what ethics or like it's money, right? It really comes down to money, and that's the unfortunate. I'm not like saying it's all money, because you guys know that's not who I am, and I'm excited about the art, but the reality is that money is such a huge driver for this. So it's huge, and even just talking to studio heads that have like. They're really worried about closing shop because nothing's getting greenlit. And we're having conversations with them about upskilling them to AI as well, because they just know that like we can't compete. And so
it's a whole new frontier on many aspects, and we are so grateful for you and Mayumi and everyone that has really trailed on the bleeding edge to go forward and share your knowledge and passion together. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Any further questions? Please hit Luke up. Thank you very much. How are you feeling, everybody? How was that? We crammed a lot into tonight. And this is just the first kick at the can. This is the beta test. We got the alpha test out of the way in October. And wow, thank you for showing up. This is absolutely crazy. We were thinking maybe 20 or 40 people might show up to the first one, but when we start seeing signups go north of 150, we're like, okay, we got something here. So please use the hashtags when you're posting about this. They really help collect all of the fervor and the passion that we've got here tonight, and we're going to repeat that over and over again. There are a few housekeeping things that I want to do here. So first of all, I'll get this out of the way. Clean up after yourself. This is a community aspect. It's all spit and polish here, but we're just a bunch of humans trying to do a bunch of human things here in an increasingly unhuman time. So do your human part and clean up after yourselves. And with that, I'm going to reveal the theme of next month. It's got a little bit to do about sound. So we're going to take a deep dive into the art of sound production in AI film, how to get your sound effects together, how to get your music tracks together the way that you want. And we've got a bunch of speakers lined up already. Daniel's going to be back, going a little bit more into your tool. No pressure to your engineers or anything. I'm going to go into a deep dive session. My first job was a sound effects editor for cartoons on YTV. Hose Hounds was the first one that I worked on. There was like an Ottawa industry of animation that was pretty big, and I worked on a lot of the Ottawa output out of that. Taking those years of Pro Tools and using 11 Labs and Suno and Udio to get so much of what film makes film good is the sound. You don't know it just by seeing it, but you feel it. And we want to take that history, that legacy, that Walter Murch ear for editing to sound and download that all to you. So I'm really excited to get into this with a few other folks that are also pretty high up there on the sound front next month. We're part of the Vancouver AI community. BC AI is the ecosystem that is the professional organization. We hold big events every month at the H.R. McMillan Space Center. The next one is January 28th, Wednesday. The last Wednesday of every month is Vancouver AI. We've got it all lined up all year. The January speaker is Alexandra Samuel. She's got a pretty amazing podcast on TVO. She just had the author of Empire of AI on. If any of you are aware of the ethical issues right now with OpenAI, with large language models, that is a book to read. It is terrifying in a lot of ways. It's a real eye-opener. She really gets into, the human aspects of what do we do when we go hand in hand with large language models in all of our discourses of life? It's going to be an amazing talk with a bunch of other speakers as well and community members offering up a lot of stuff. Here's the QR code to get signed up on Luma. H.R. McMillan Space Center down in Kitsilano with the big squirty crab out front. I love that building. It's so much fun. I'll be tech producing for those, so you'll definitely see me milling about. But Chris Krug, who couldn't be here tonight, sadly, his heart is aching to have been here, is the master of that show and definitely brings all the community together. So we hope that those of you that are new to the community will come on down to the regular meetups as well as these film meetups. Are you a BC AI member? This is the ecosystem that this is all a part of. There are a few different levels. Scan the QR code, see what we're all about. A lot of the relationships that you're seeing, the ingenuity, the passion, the human-centric movement here is really birthed out of our collective in the BC AI ecosystem. And I would love for every single one of you to come along with the ride with us. And there's a bunch of phones out. That's nice to see. Well done, folks. Okay. All right, moving along. That's it. That's it, folks. Thank you very much. I think we're here until about 10. Toilet paper. Oh, yeah. You know what? Did we get a prompt?
Oh, I sent you those images.
Did you? Oh, I don't think I caught them. Oh, gosh. Okay. So it's our first time, everybody. We're knocking out the bugs. Did I mention it was a beta test? So we want to leave you tonight with a Luma blast to follow afterwards and an email blast to follow afterwards. We want to give you prompts to take home. And yeah, Luke's the mastermind of all this. You'd spell it out, brother.
Yeah. Okay, so I just thought it'd be really fun. Again, in the spirit of it doing a community event, and because these things are so like low entry and anybody really can kind of like jump in and do it, I thought it would be really fun if we had a toilet paper ad contest. So we're looking for a 20 to 30 second ad for toilet paper. And I had this image of an orc on a battlefield holding up this package of toilet paper that said Horde's Choice, victory is clean. And I just want to get crazy with it. I think it'd be really fun to just do a quick ad for a toilet paper, any kind of toilet paper. Like just go, the crazier the better. It's just really supposed to be a fun thing. Talk with people afterwards tonight. have a group of, have a collaboration. Collaboration is very much encouraged. And then we are going to, like, next meetup, we're going to show some of the best ones. And not really a contest, but just basically we'll show, like, maybe the top 5 or something like that. So I just thought there's LumaBlast will give you more details about that. You want to? Okay.
I just wanted to add to that. I'll stand up so everyone can see me. I'm small, sorry. We will also send out a Google form, and you don't have to fill it out if you don't want to. But if there's something that we are missing, something that you thought about, that you wanted to learn more about, something that you want to talk about, something you wanted to showcase, whatever, fill it out, please. We're going to collect all of that information and start throwing that into the programming for the subsequent meetups.
Yeah. This is a community event. So if you have some cool tools that you're using or something, like, talk to us. We want to feature you as well. Like, everybody who spoke today are just members of the BC AI community, right? Mostly. And so it's really, this is a time to share and celebrate each other and really just, like, find ways to work together. So. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. Share in the open, everybody. That's what we're here to do. Thank you very much, everybody. I think we've got about roughly a little bit more than 20 minutes before we get the old boots. So mingle amongst yourselves. Thanks for coming, and we hope to see you in February, second Thursday in February 12th. Thank you.